Yeah, hello, my fellow Americans. Today I'm here to tell you about the best, the very best, the number one channel on the land. Yes, all of YouTube, it's the best. He's here to tell you all today about the best hockey team in the world of our great nation, the greatest nation's capital of all the world, the greatest. There's none better. You can't find better. It's the best. The Washington Capitals, champions, champions. It says it right there, the champions, right there. They're the best. Champions are the best, and we make winners. They send us their losers. We make winners. I tell you, today it's hosted. It's hosted by the best. The best. We only have the best host of all the land of the O Hockey Show. Please give a big round of applause for the man, the myth, the legend himself, Owen Jordan Rayleigh. Thank you, yes, thank you, you know, a little bit of that, yeah. Welcome back to the show. We are covering the Washington Capitals. I hope you like that little skit there at the beginning. So, the Capitals, a team that has been so dominant in the last decade. They have not had one down year, and I would say the last 10 years they haven't been bad once, at least in the last 10. I could probably say even longer. This has probably been the most consistently good team over the last 10 years, because I don't remember a time when this team was in a downtime. In the 2010s, they were winning President's trophies, and then finally the year they didn't win it, they actually finally won the Stanley Cup with this team. This team has just been so strong every year, and recently their problem has been that they lose in the first round consistently, whether it's the Hurricanes, whether it's the Islanders. This team has a first round problem, and I have been trying to figure out what is the problem with this team, and especially last year. What's been the problem with this team in the latest iteration of it? Well, first, let's talk about the good before the bad. The good news is that they're 10th in goals for, so they're in the top 10 in goals for and just outside of the top 10 in goals against in 12th. Now, those are pretty decent numbers, but the thing that I noticed there is that they're both in the top. They're in the top, but they're not in the top. You find the teams like the Tampa Bay, the Colorado, St. Louis. You find these teams in the top of both of those stats, and the Hurricanes, which I'll get to. And that is the thing that I think knocks them out of the playoffs every year, is that they have teams that are better than them in these categories in each one. And that's the thing that I've been seeing with a lot of the teams that I've been covering, is that sure, these teams are okay. A team like the Capitals, a team like St. Louis or something, they're great. But the thing is that there's a team that does both things better than them now. So let's say St. Louis and Colorado. St. Louis is great for goals for and goals against. However, there's Colorado, which is better in each category. And then you have the team. It's the same team. It's the same built type of team, but they do everything better. You see the thing? That's it. That's the thing. It's like the generic brand versus the name brand. It's like the same thing, but one's just better. That's how I look at it. And the thing about the Washington Capitals is that the problem with them has been the Hurricanes. I think lately is what really has been running them out of town. Is that the Hurricanes are in the top 10, I think 8th or 6th or something in goals for, and I think around the same number in goals against. But I think the Capitals have finally fixed things up for them this upcoming season. So let's talk about the good before the bad. The good news, I think, is that for their goals for problem, there was a couple problems with it last year. Last year, Backstrom, of course, was injured. Oshie was injured. They missed, I think both of them missed just a little under half the season. I mean, Backstrom wasn't already having a career year. I think he only got 31 points out of 40-something games. Not amazing, but I mean, 31 points, that's not like the worst thing in the world. It's kind of like my Jack Eichel video yesterday. It's kind of the same path of points there. Oshie kind of fallen off. He got 20 points in 40 games, which still isn't terrible. He probably would have come out to 40-something points. You definitely add a 40-point person to your lineup is not going to be bad at all. So those type of things hurt them last year. But Backstrom is still injured. Oshie is going to be able to come back into the lineup. But the thing is that this team also added Dylan Strome and Connor Brown, two guys that are coming off of pretty decent years for their careers. Connor Brown, of course, playing in Ottawa, Dylan Strome in Chicago. They bring them into the lineup. I think they'll fit perfectly together on that second line. Anthony Mantha, I expect more out of him. 23 points isn't very good for him. I definitely want to see him jump up. But when eventually these two guys over here, well, three really, but the main two, Backstrom and Wilson, especially Wilson, are back in the lineup. Mantha will come down to the third line, and that'll probably even things out a lot. You'll have Wilson on that top line, then you can spread out. Maybe eventually if Backstrom comes back, which I think he comes back a lot of months, so that's not really a thing you gotta look forward to, but not really something you gotta rely on. You have to hope you can play without him. So he'll slide back in that second line probably, but that's so far away that you can't even really think about it. But especially Tom Wilson into this lineup will completely, I think, solidify this team's offense. I think with Wilson, this team's offense will be put together in a nice, clean package. Also, guys like McMichael and Lapierre, especially McMichael, but Lapierre, I like him. But he didn't do a whole lot when his little stint in the NHL. But Connor McMichael, I think his name's Connor, 18 points last year in his first year. He's only 21. I mean, if that jumps up a little bit, say he gets to 25 to 30 points this year, that's a pretty big jump. Not a pretty big jump, but that's a pretty big solid addition to the lineup. And then someone like Hathaway. I mean, this team has some of the best depth I've seen on any of these teams. All the way down the bottom, you have 20 points guys. Of course, McMichael's only 2 points shy of that. But you get what I'm saying, is that this team has a lot. This team offensively is really well put together. All the way through, you have a dangerous line. Not like dangerous like Colorado dangerous, but I'd say a pretty solid lineup of guys offensively. Defensively, I think this team is still stacked. Faravari, I think, is a solid defenseman, especially with this team. John Carlson or John Norris, whatever you want to call him, I love him. I've 71 points last year. I think he's going to do just as good as this year. Dmitry Orlov and Jensen, I think those two together are great. And then Gustafsson added, Van Riemsdyk. I think this team's defense is... This is one of those... I said this about Ottawa, but this team has a better... I would say these players are... They don't have an offensive defense, really, but they have a lot... These guys like Orlov and Jensen and Carlson especially, they can play the game, these guys can move the puck. They're not super speedy defensemen, but these guys can play, and especially Orlov. Orlov is actually a lot quicker than I think. But anyways, that's off topic. And then I think the best thing that they've done, and I think anyone can agree, is that so goals for, they don't really have a problem. I mean, especially when you have Alex Ovechkin, who I haven't even talked about yet. 10th in goals for. They've added Strome, Brown, and McMichael can grow. I think they're going to go up in that rankings a little bit, especially with the best goal scorer of all time, Alex Ovechkin. And once Wilson gets back in the lineup and Hagelin gets back in the lineup, I think that's going to completely make their offense so great. But their other category that they needed to get a little bit higher up to really become contenders is goals against, which they were 12th. And I think they perfectly did that by overhauling their goaltending with I spoiled it. We already know. Samsonov and Vanacek. Get them out, and you bring in Darcy Kuemper, the beast from... I don't know where he's from. But the beast, Darcy Kuemper, a guy that single-handedly willed a team of the Coyotes to a playoffs, not just a win, but a series win, and also one win against the Colorado Avalanche, not to mention getting them into the playoffs. I mean, Darcy Kuemper is a beast. He is phenomenal, and especially with this team in front of him, I feel like this is the perfect team for Darcy Kuemper. They're not going to be a team that won't really need his services like Colorado. Like, Colorado didn't probably really need a great goaltender in net. And I feel like this team, this is the perfect matchup. Kuemper on the Caps. Kemps and Caps. I mean, it even goes together. Their name's perfect. So, the goaltending, I would say, was their biggest slouch last year. Samsonov and Vanacek kind of sharing the load and not really being the best goalies in the world. I think Kemper is the perfect goaltender to be a beast in the net for this team and steal them some games and make them a better and more potent contender. Because when they get to the playoffs this year, which I totally think they will, I think this team is total playoff material, especially with a team like the Penguins. In my head, think are probably going to start sliding down, so there's a spot there in the Metro. I think they probably get the third place spot. And if they don't, I definitely see them getting at least a wild card. This team is making it to the playoffs. When they get there, though, it's going to depend. Does a team like the Hurricanes, who are really stacked still, do they have enough potency to get over that hill? And I think that with Kemper in net, that can steal them games, and the rest of this team, especially by that time, Backstrom, Wilson, and Hagelin will be back in the lineup. I think this team will give Carolina a run for their money. Now, if they get past that to, like, the Rangers, now that's where a question could come in of, like, well, the Rangers might be a little bit too offensive powered and too much goaltending and really all around solid to overtake the Capitals or vice versa, whatever. So I think this team makes it to the playoffs. How well do they do? Kind of depends on how the guys coming back to the lineup and how everyone here pans out. If, like, say Mantha jumps back up and gets to, like, 50 points or something, anything can happen. But that's really all I have to say about the Washington Capitals. Thank you, Donald, for doing the intro for us. I wanted to say that after this one is Winnipeg, right? And after Winnipeg, I'm going to do a divisions predictions and then do a playoff predictions. So, and then I have to see what I've done wrong and stuff. But anyways, till next time, please pick up your free subscription down below. It's that red subscribe button. It's free. Just click it. Why not? Just do it. Just do it. Please just do it. You'll love it. Please just do it. Anyways, leave a like if you liked this video. Don't leave a dislike. You can go down below to the comments and leave any comments, concerns, suggestions, reviews, feedbacks, or other sorts of tangents, rants, and opinions. And until next time, I have been Owen. Too sweet, and ta-ta for now.